And now, an exclusive sneak preview of a recent X-Talks webinar, Cloud and Medical Device Cybersecurity, the FDA's 2023 Guidelines.
So what we're showing here on the left is what the eStar actually looks like. You can see they have an attachment for each document that they expect to see per the new guidance. There's drop-down boxes where they want a little bit more information about specific page numbers and threat methodologies and things like that. But overall, I found this to be very helpful as it kind of refines about what the documentation looks like. One of the things that you should expect, though, is deficiencies to come out of left field. I mean, it's not unheard of. For example, in the past month, I've seen FDA ask how your device handles quantum cryptography. You know, that's not in the guidance, but it's something that some FDA reviewers are, thinking about. So don't be surprised if you see some left field questions. Most of the internet relies on TLS 1.2. We've seen some reviewers demand TLS 1.3. We've seen some reviewers say AES 128 isn't sufficient, even though it's pretty much an industry standard. So don't be surprised if you see these type of questions that are outside of the eStar. But just quickly, we'll go through the eStar. It's asking for a risk management report. 95% of our clients are using STRIDE threat methodology. Microsoft has a nice tool on their website. A lot of my clients in Israel prefer the OS Dragon tool. They say they find that easier to use. And you can build these threat models in like an hour using YouTube videos. I mean, you can pull them together pretty quickly at a high level. They want architecture views, which is, kind of part of your threat model. They want to understand the trust boundary around your device and its relation to, say, the hospital environment. They want the SBOM. There's numerous tools out there, open source, provides very high level methodology. There's a lot of paid ways that you can do it out there that maybe provide a bit more detail, but just do what works for you. Maybe we can go to the next slide. They want an assessment of unresolved anomalies. Most of you know that you have to provide those as part of your software documentation, but now FDA wants to understand how your unresolved anomalies relate to cybersecurity specifically. So when you scan your SBOM for vulnerabilities, what are you seeing low, medium, high, or critical vulnerabilities, and how are you addressing those? One of the new big things for this eStar version 5 is the cybersecurity metrics. They want to know what kind of events are occurring internally. Cybersecurity controls. It's very important that you look at Appendix 1 of the 2023 cybersecurity guidance and try to mirror FDA's language in that Appendix 1. When you get deficiencies for all these things, authentication, authorization, cryptography, they're really asking them directly tied to that Appendix 1. One thing that we noticed starting in January 2023, right after the omnibus was signed, the same 30 boilerplate deficiency questions. Almost every client was getting these across the board. And now if you don't provide those security questions, we're still seeing those boilerplate deficiencies. So make sure you've answered each one of these cybersecurity controls. I think we have two more slides left. They want to understand the architecture views. And personally, I think that's really part of your software architecture document. It's also part of your threat model, so you can refer back to that document. Cybersecurity testing, they want to see penetration testing. You can do it internally or with a third-party vendor. Generally, I see all the third parties just using the OS Top 10, OWASP. That's the best way to do your penetration testing. You can do it, like I said, you can do it internally or externally. They want you to do malformed inputs, vulnerability scanning, and static or dynamic code testing. The next section is cybersecurity labeling. They want to understand exactly what page your labeling is on. It needs to be an independent section within your user manual or labeling. The last thing is the cybersecurity plan. They want to understand how you're going to do risk assessment. Most companies do an initial STRIDE risk assessment or an attack tree. And then secondly, you should do a CVSS assessment of any vulnerabilities that you discover. So it should really be two parts. First, threat model assessment, risk assessment, then the CVSS assessment.
To view the entirety of this webinar, visit the link in the description and register on xtalks.com completely free of charge.